And away we go! Wow, everybody, today is going to be an information session like you've never had before. How are we doing today, everyone? I see we already have a few questions here about the Content Creator Program, about some of the space reworks. Don't you worry, we will cover it all. Cosmic, Angry Birds Plush Nest. Nice to meet you, my man. Who else is here? Stinky, Jester Gogo, hello. Thank you very much for the congratulations. We have actually known, those of us who were chosen for the Content Creator Program have actually known for a little while that we were going to get picked. But WAF had asked us to keep it a secret so that they could make an official announcement about it. Additionally, we didn't really know what it was going to mean. So there was a lot of figuring out that had to get done before they actually made the announcement, but now it should be here, and now we feel, I don't know, official, I suppose. Cosmic, am I still using BlueStacks or did I manage to download the Windows version? The answer is actually both. So when I'm in my own home, and you guys might notice I'm still in this different background, we're still at Kelsey's parents' house. It is actually raining out here today, which means the sun is not out, so all of the lighting on all of this is actually going to be a very different effect than normal. But while I'm out here and I only have my laptop, I have to run off of BlueStacks because the Windows version doesn't allow capture in Streamlabs like BlueStacks does. You have to do some special things in order to get it to capture. Namely, well, it doesn't matter. You have to do some special things in order to get it to capture that I can't currently do when I only have my laptop available to me. So right now, I'm doing the capture through BlueStacks. But when I'm back home, yes, I'm using the Windows version. And for anybody out there, the Windows version it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's a lot smoother than running it on BlueStacks. And then, hello, Mr. Bowtie. Hello, Angry Birds Plush Nest. How are you doing? So, as I did last week, you'll see me looking down to the left a lot. That's because I actually have my stream running on my iPad down here to the left, so I can see all of the comments and things that you guys are making. Now that you made bug time, will you ignore us? Oh, big time. Will you ignore us, plebes? You know what, Stinky? I'll keep coming back just for you. But yes, when you see me looking down and to the left, it's because that is where I am actually running the stream, so I can see you guys making comments and respond in real time, since I only have one monitor while I am out here. But enough of this setup. You guys are here for all of the information that was given out yesterday, and oh my goodness, was there a lot of it. So let's go ahead and start with the Discord announcement. You can go ahead and show everybody else what actually got said yesterday as they announced everybody who is going to be a part of the Content Creator Program. WAF says, hey all, I know this is a long time coming, but we're now announcing our first participants for the launch of our Content Creator Program. These 10 creators represent a diverse array of creators who are so excited to support, keep growing with a program with even more amazing creators. And it starts with a whole bunch of people that you will probably not be surprised to hear are in the CCP, namely Bricko, the Escape Podcast, the Brick Down, GKM Band, a regular viewer of my stream. Hello, GKM, congratulations. Hennessy, the Daring Desert Ninja. I'm actually unfamiliar with Hennessy. OGL Gameplays, me, Sicko, who everybody should be familiar with at this point, Mandigar Gaming, and Bulldog 1205. We have so many amazing creators that didn't make it into this round, but we will be having another call for creators very soon as we expand the program. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to WAF. Now, The reason why I pulled all of these up is you will see that there are a lot of people here who have very, very strongly critiqued LEGO Legacy. And we think it's very interesting that just because you have critiques of the game does not prevent you from becoming a content creator. Everybody across the board has considered this to be a very good thing. Obviously, having just a bunch of yes men in your corner doesn't actually help you improve, and it makes your message seem rather fake, doesn't it? So, you will be seeing the same content that you saw before. It'll now just, I guess, feel a little bit more official. But we'll be telling you what we like, we'll be telling you what we don't like, we'll be telling you what does make sense, what doesn't make sense, and as always, we will be asking for your input because none of the people on this list would have gotten onto this list without an audience. So without you guys and without everybody commenting along, following us, we wouldn't have been chosen at all. We wouldn't have a voice. We wouldn't have anybody to speak to. So thank you to you guys. Keep on watching and keep on telling us how we can improve. Let's see. Do I know when we're going to get full patch notes released on Discord? Jester, no. We do not know that information yet. WAF mentioned yesterday that they are aiming to release that on Friday, but there's no guarantee, right? When they say they're aiming to do something, usually it means they're going to be a few days later than that. However, they did tell us that they were going to be giving the content creators patch notes on Tuesday, yesterday, and they told us that on, I think, Friday or Saturday over the weekend, so that they did deliver on. So there is a good chance that they will be out by Friday, but not before that. Minifigure Empire represent. Yeah, bruh. Let's get it, dude. Alright, so let's see. That covers all of that information. You will also notice that if you look in the description of my video, that there is a whole bunch of new legalese. This is going to be on every description from now on. People will choose to display this information in varying ways, but as part of the content creator program, we have to add information that says, and I'm just going to read it for you straight here. This video is created in the course of the LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed Creators Program powered by Gameloft. We also have to include LEGO, the LEGO logo, the minifigure, Ninjago, and the brick and knob configurations are trademarks and or copyrights of the LEGO Group. Copyright 2020, the LEGO Group, all rights reserved. Produced by Gameloft, under license from the LEGO Group. Copyright 2020 Gameloft, all rights reserved. And this content is not specifically approved by Gameloft and or the LEGO Group. I'm letting you know that because I don't know exactly how everybody's going to choose to display that information. They just have to make sure it is displayed. WAF mentioned that for those of us who are making YouTube videos, we can just put that in the description of the video so that it is permanently available. Some people, if they are streaming on Twitch, as is the case for the Escape podcast, they actually have a little banner running across the bottom of their stream that is constantly updating with the same thing throughout the course of their stream. I don't know if they're going to be changing that in the future, but you will be seeing that. It's not just an obnoxious thing that we've decided to do. It is part of us being a part of the content creator program that we are required to have that information there. And it just basically protects everybody from, you know, getting sued. That being said, the Escape podcast, yours truly will be on the Escape podcast next Thursday the 10th at 9 p.m. So, if you have never watched the Escape podcast, this would be an excellent opportunity to start, as I will be on the show again Thursday the 10th at 9 p.m. Which brings us to another good point, the content creators. Now that you have this list of content creators here, we also have our own channel on Discord where we can collaborate, talk with one another, share ideas. We can try to get questions clarified, and it has Abox and WAF and a bunch of the other devs, well, I think one of the other devs in there as well. So where the community chat, the heroes discussion can oftentimes get cluttered with questions, things people want to know but are unclear. If you have access to a content creator, if you have one of their ears, you can always tell them that there's something in particular that you find interesting or is bothering you, and can they post that in the content creator channel? Maybe somebody else has the answer. We can also, if we agree that it is something that needs to be known, it is our way to sort of push back to the dev team and say, hey, this is a bit more important or should be given a bit more weight than you guys are currently giving it. So feel free to use us as a tool that way as well. Collaborations. Oh man. And I know we're all here because we want to see the space rework. I promise you we will be getting to it. But you will be seeing a lot more collaborations coming out from the content creators in the near future. As I mentioned, I'm going to be on the Escape podcast next week. GKM is looking to create a whole bunch of individual videos, one for each character of the space update, so look out for those, and has already reached out about collaborating with me on one of the videos on the Poppy rework, which is at the end of the space rework. So you will be seeing a lot more content from a lot more people, different mixes of people that you've probably never seen before. It's all very exciting. We're all very excited. Everybody's pretty happy about it right now. There have been questions about that tier system that they talked about before, that they were planning on having a tier system for content creators based on how many followers you have. Right now, we are all in one tier and there is no difference between us. They have mentioned that they still want to keep the tier system, but it sounds to us like they're not quite sure how anymore. It's definitely not going to be exactly like it was before, but we don't know exactly what's changing. So we will see. Do you know more besides the space reworks? Jester, a little bit, yes. We will get to that in a second. Actually, we'll start getting to it now. So we're here for the space rework, guys. This is what was released to the content creators, in addition to a whole bunch of new images, which actually give us some information about what is to come. Those images you will start to see on people's videos as they come out. I will do an official video with the full space rework as well, and you'll see a lot of those new graphics there. Graphics for Blacktron Quincy, Jen Slate, the Alpha Centauri Outpost, all the characters that are coming up. Now, I will stress to you right now, these are not the full patch notes. These are only the notes about the space minifigure reworks. So there is no information here about characters that have yet to join the game, and there's no information here about the upcoming raids. What we do know from the previous Q&A that I covered is that raids are coming and they're going to be space themed, and there are going to be new characters coming out associated with and around those raids. But the information we have for you today is specifically the space rework. So we can go through this and see how things have changed, beginning with Dr. Kelvin. Dr. Kelvin is love. Dr. Kelvin is life. Like literally, she can heal now with this new rework. Hopefully she targets the right team. So her first ability has been changed to lower the damage that it deals just a little bit, but it has gained a 50% chance to grant the hero with the lowest health dodge up for 2 turns. Pretty straightforward, easy to understand. We'll just move right on. The Frostbite Phaser. Whoops, I have the wrong, there we go. The Frostbite Phaser reduces the target foe's pep by 40%, used to be the ability, and that's all it would do. And when you compare that to like Chef, who also has a special ability that can reduce the foe's pep but also does damage, it makes sense to see what they reworked this into. So now Kelvin's first special ability will deal 110% damage and reduce pep by 40%. Fantastic. Additionally, it will grant 25% pep to a random chill hero. So that's going to be your Yeti or your Commander Cold, most likely. If the target foe is inflicted with Dizzy, then another random hero gains 20% pep. And this random hero can be from any walk of life. She now has Cooling Agent. This is a brand new ability. Select a target hero. That hero gains damage block 2 for 2 turns and will clear 1 debuff. If the hero is Chill, then they have a 75% chance to clear 2 debuffs. If Commander Cold is an active hero, Dr. Kelvin gains damage block 2 for 2 turns. So your first question should be, what is damage block 2? Damage block is a new buff coming out with this rework. Damage block 1 is a flat reduction in incoming damage of 25%. Damage block 2 is a flat reduction of incoming damage by 50%. And then there's damage immunity, which, as the name implies, makes you immune to taking damage. There are a couple of questions here, like, for example, if you're immune to taking damage, can you still have debuffs applied? Right? So Argenta, for example, when she shoots her pistol at you, if you dodge it, then you also dodge the debuffs. If you are debuff immune, if you have debuff immunity up, then you'll still take the damage, but you will not get the debuffs. So does damage immunity allow you to escape the damage but still have the debuffs applied? Only time will tell. I have a feeling that this damage block is probably going to be a very overpowered debuff or an overpowered buff. We'll have to see how it works. They already have defense in the game and defense up in the game. So I'll be very interested to see how damage block affects the use of defense and defense up too. I think it's going to muddy the waters if I'm being completely honest with you, but there's no doubt that damage block is going to be a major powerful buff, especially because it's just a flat damage reduction, so you can count on it, right? The way that for Jester Gogo, for example, he doesn't have any defense, so giving him defense up doesn't do anything. But he has a huge health pool, so giving him damage block is going to be a huge deal. Let's continue on. Fresh Powder, this is Kelvin's new passive, has been changed so that at the start of battle, all heroes will now gain 10% max health. All chill heroes will gain 10% dodge. So, not only is the dodge meta here to stay, but it looks like it's going to get worse. Whenever a foe counters, assists, or does a bonus hit, Dr. Kelvin has a 65% chance to heal all heroes for 5% of their max health. Here is the only place where Kelvin is healing, and it'll remain to be seen whether or not this is effective. But first, let's consider all of the castle teams with Magisto who get their counterattacks, all of your Redbeard teams with his counters, assists, bonus hits, and the like. The cool thing about this is that when a counter occurs, Dr. Kelvin has a 65% chance to heal everyone on your team for 5%, not just the person who gets hit. Which means that the healing going out is, if you think about it, like a 20% heal, but spread across the entire team. So it's a relatively weak heal, but it is spread out. My inclination is that this is going to be very ineffective when your team is on defense in, say, the arena, because your opponent is going to be doing single target focus damage wherever they can, and that 5% heal is not going to amount to much. However, in PvE, where the AI is constantly picking different targets, I think that this might actually be a very big heal, because as you spread around the damage, being able to spread around the heals becomes much more effective. You on BlueStacks or Windows? Oh, Cosmic, you missed it right at the beginning. So it's a combination of both. Right now, because I only have my laptop, I have to run on BlueStacks because the Windows client of LEGO will not allow me to capture from the same PC screen that I'm also running Streamlabs on in order to do all that capturing. So at home, I'm running the Windows client. It is much more smooth. But while I am at my fiance's parents' house and I only have my laptop with me, I have to do it through BlueStacks. Cosmic, Kelvin's passive seems pretty darn solid, but seems quite specific. Yes, so you'll notice that there is a lot of synergy here, specifically with chill heroes. Also, you'll notice that Kelvin doesn't have any space-specific hero synergies, which is kind of interesting, right? Because it's a whole space rework, and a lot of the other characters do. But she does have specific chill synergies. So, in a nutshell, before we move on to Commander Cold, what has Kelvin gained and what has Kelvin lost? Well, overall, she has gained usefulness. And to be completely honest with you, her main attack has lost a little bit of damage, but her first special ability has gained 110% damage. So overall, I think you will see a damage increase from Kelvin. She can also help to speed up your team. She can give them damage block and dodge up, so she makes them a bit more resilient. She gives them more health, and she can heal a little bit every time a foe counters, assists, and does a bonus hit. Will we start seeing Kelvin on more teams? Yes, for sure, without a doubt. Will she become part of a new meta? Only time will tell. Let's move on to Commander Cold. A solid support character, was doing a lot of different things, but didn't really have a particular focus as to what he was doing. Cleaned him up to have a better focus on Dizzy and protecting other heroes. He also has a cool little synergy with Dr. Kelvin's new ability too. So, Ice Saw. Nothing changed with Ice Saw, so let's go ahead and go over very, very quickly and just make sure that we know what Ice Saw actually does. So I'm going to come over here and pull up Commander Cold. Commander Cold's primary ability, Ice Saw, at high level, deals 100% damage to the target foe, plus a 50% bonus damage if the target has Dizzy. Right? Basic damage plus bonus damage if the target has Dizzy. Now let's hop back on over to our notes and keep on going, because it's really the and does extra damage if the opponent has Dizzy that you're going to want to keep an eye on. Damage block will totally power creep defense up. Cosmic, yes, I completely 100% agree. They may need to buff defense up or nerf damage block. I think we're going to be seeing that in the coming weeks, probably when we see how it affects the raid coming out. I have a feeling that because there are only like 2 characters that can apply damage block, and their viability as part of an arena meta is still up in the air, that until the raid comes out, we probably won't see it used widely enough to be able to figure out just how powerful it is. There's no doubt in my mind it will help people to clear Brickspedition more easily, since that's the only PvE content we really have right now. But we'll see what happens, especially as it pertains to the arena. Now, getting into Commander Cold. Ice Saw does damage with bonus damage if the opponent has Dizzy. Chill out. Woof! There's so much to read here. I'm skipping halfway through the paragraph to see what it does now. It's going to deal 120% damage to the target foe and inflict Dizzy for 2 turns. If they already had Dizzy, it will instead clear that and turn it into a 1-turn stun, with a 60% chance to increase all the other debuffs on the target by 1, plus 5% bonus chance for each other space and chill hero. So overall, the base damage of the ability has gone up, and they've added so overall the change is that the base damage has gone up, and the chance to apply a special effect has also gone up, right? So they've made it a bit more useful. Deals a little bit more base damage, makes the character dizzy. If they were dizzy before, now it's going to make them stunned, and it has a chance to increase the duration of all the other debuffs on the target. Stay Frosty. Grants all heroes defense up 2 for 3 turns. So consider this, right? Kelvin is going to be putting damage block on your heroes, which gives a flat 50% reduction in damage, whatever the damage is that's coming in. In addition, Commander Cold is going to be granting all heroes defense up 2 for 3 turns. Space and chill heroes will also gain skill up for 2 turns, and heroes with 50 or less health, 50% or less health, have a 70% chance to gain damage block 1 for 2 turns. If a hero is space, they definitely gain damage block 1. If a hero already has damage block, then clear it and grant them damage immunity for 2 turns instead. This is an interesting one to look at. Let's see. To be honest, I don't know why they nerfed Locust and Dwayne. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so Stay Frosty. This is an interesting one to look at because it grants defense up and skill up for space heroes. Okay, fine, easy to understand. If your hero is less than 50% full on health, then it will also give them damage block. If they already had damage block, it will grant them damage immunity. So basically, if your team is really full on health, then it'll increase their defense. If they're really low on health, then it basically makes them immune to damage. Especially if you consider that once you have these mechanics figured out, you're probably always going to use Stay Frosty after you've used Kelvin's ability to give everybody damage block, which means you can use Commander Cold to make a great number of the people on your team basically unkillable. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out, but this has the potential to be very, very strong. Cool, not frozen. Whenever Commander Cold attacks, if he has skill up, he has a 20% chance to reduce the cooldown of Chill Out by 1, with a 5% bonus chance for each other space hero. If the hero set is the Ice Station Odyssey, Commander Cold is immune to Dizzy, Stun, and Disarmed. This could be huge. Ice Station Odyssey, literally nobody is using Ice Station Odyssey for anything right now because honestly the set is very hard to get and the synergy with it is practically non-existent. But this could change, especially if you have a character on your team who can use his abilities to make your team practically unkillable, and he's now practically unstoppable because you can't make him dizzy, stun, or disarm him. In addition, every time he attacks, he can reduce the cooldown of Chill Out, which will, again, deal damage to the target foe and make them dizzy, and if they were dizzy, stun them instead. So Commander Cold has the potential now to be a very, very viable character for several reasons. But we're going to have to see again what the use is because the space team is built intentionally to synergize with itself relatively poorly, with the exception of the fact that people get bonus chance to do X, Y, or Z if there are more space or chill heroes on the team. They're not actually designed to be used as a full team. But we'll see if whoever the first person is to figure out what the new space meta is going to be. But I have a feeling it will involve Commander Cold and Kelvin in some way. Whether or not the Ice Station Odyssey ends up being a useful enough set to get into the meta, we'll find out. Of course, first people have to actually farm it. Now we get to Locust. As Cosmic brought up, there are some ways in which Locust feels like he has been nerfed. But I think overall, Locust has actually gotten more powerful. What's up, Axel? How you doing, buddy? Locust is a space character that we designed very early on and has a wide variety of different things he can do. With that, though, comes a lack of focus. With this redesign, Locust has been slimmed down just a little to have a greater focus on increasing his team's and his own survivability, while also causing detrimental effects to foes' special and ultimate abilities. Let's get into it. Toxic behavior. Nothing new to see here. So we're going to go over and make sure that we can see toxic behavior. At highest level, deals a 100% damage to the target foe with a 50% chance to grant skill up for 2 turns to the hero with the lowest health. They have left this the same. Deal some damage, grant your low health hero skill up. Great. Now, maximize efficiency. They have changed this, so now Locust will gain taunt for 2 turns and heal for 35% of his max health. That part is exactly the same as it was before. But now Locust clears taunt from the target foe with a 50% chance to inflict them with max health down, plus an extra bonus chance for having extra space heroes on your team. What's important here is Locust gains taunt and removes taunt from the opponent. That is going to be huge, especially for your teams that have multiple taunters, or depending on where you are in your rotation. When Scarlet puts up her taunt, if you have your Locust ready to go, and remember, Locust is pretty fast, you can use his taunt to get rid of Scarlet's taunt to get around that automatic taunt that she keeps throwing up. That is going to be a very, very big deal. Corporate Drones has been changed to deal 90% damage to all foes with a 100% chance to grant each active hero attack up 2 for 2 turns. This is the same. Space Heroes have a 100% chance to also gain defense up 2 for 2 turns. That's the shift. It used to grant speed up, and now it grants defense up. Now this is a nerf, because speed is much more important than defense in this turn-based game. However, overall, I think that the trade is going to be a relatively small one, especially when you consider that Commander Cold, Kelvin, the space team in general is sort of based on just not dying in the first place, rather than taking multiple turns in this way really quickly. So the loss of speed up here, I doubt anybody's actually going to feel, despite the fact that on paper, yes, it is absolutely a nerf. His taunt and passive seems pretty great now, but his AoE buff and his ultimate did get nerfed overall, says Cosmic. Defense up is redundant since Commander Cold already gives defense up. Ah, yes, Cosmic. But what you have to remember is that defense up 2 and so Commander Cold can grant defense up 2 for 3 turns and damage block or damage immunity. And then Corporate Drones will give defense up 2 for 2 turns as well. Corporate Drones tends to be what everybody uses as their opener with Locust, right? So you give people defense up 2 right at the beginning. And if you have Commander Cold on your team as well, Stay Frosty might then be the turn the ability you use for Commander Cold second or third instead of using that first. So yes, it is redundant because they apply the same buff. However, if you have Commander Cold and Locust on your team at the same time, you probably won't be using those abilities on the same rotation. So you might just have defense up on your team forever. Additionally, it's likely that you actually won't have both Locust and Commander Cold on your team at the same time. We'll have to figure out once people have had time to actually play with the space characters once the update comes out to see if there is a meta where Locust and Commander Cold are on the same team at the same time. Let's see. However, admittedly, it could be useful with CC to consistently have defense up. Yeah, there you go. So that's Corporate Drones. Zootaxian Resilience. So this is his passive. Whenever Locust has taunt, his defense is increased by 10% for each other Explorer hero. Note here, it's each other Explorer hero, not space specific. When Locust is attacked and has taunt, he has a 40% chance to inflict Bricked for 1 turn, with a bonus chance for each other space hero. First question, what does Bricked do? Bricked is a new debuff that the character on which it is applied will take damage anytime they do a special or an ultimate ability. So it's sort of like a damage over time that is applied every time they do a special or an ultimate ability. It is percentage of health based. We don't know what that percentage is yet, but Basically, it punishes you for using the stronger abilities of your character. I think it's a very cool idea. How powerful is it going to be? We have yet to see. Especially if you're only inflicted with Bricked for one turn, it means that it's only going to happen once. My guess is that it's going to be pretty strong, maybe close to a time bomb type thing. It's got to be more powerful than a regular dot. Otherwise, what would be the point? Of course, you could argue just a regular dot for one turn is pretty weak too. So what would be the point of those? Except that those can stack, and we don't know if Bricked can stack yet. So we'll have yet to see. Anyway, whenever Locust has Taunt, his defense is increased by 10% for each other Explorer hero. Likely you'll have him on a team with a whole bunch of Explorers, so when he has Taunt, his defense is going to go up by about 40%. That is monstrous. And then whenever he's attacked, while he has Taunt, he has a 40% chance to inflict Bricked, plus a bonus chance for each other space hero. Cosmic says, yeah, effectively it's a pseudo disarmed, except in PvE where it's just free damage. That's very true, because I doubt it's going to change the way the AI works. Maximum Overdrive. So here we get into his ultimate. Okay, this has been changed so that it deals 80% damage to all foes, plus 10% bonus damage for each space hero, with a 100% chance to inflict attack down, and a 50% chance to inflict disarmed on each foe. City foes have a 100% chance to be inflicted with disarmed instead. So his ultimate got a pretty significant buff. Instead of dealing 50% damage to all foes and inflicting attack down, it deals 80% damage to all foes, plus 10% bonus damage for each space hero. So if you have 2 or 3 space heroes on your team, instead of dealing 50% damage to everyone, it's dealing 100% damage to everyone. They literally doubled the damage of his ultimate. It will still inflict attack down, just like it did before. It will still have a 50% chance to inflict disarmed, just like it did before, except that they've lowered it to 1 turn instead of 2. And then city foes have a 100% chance to be inflicted with disarmed instead. Now, it used to be that this ability got bonus damage for each active alien hero. However, there are very few alien heroes, right? Gorwell is the other alien hero, and nobody has her. So, in fact, what this used to do is just 50% damage. And the plus 20% bonus damage, even if you had 2 alien heroes on your team, would still only bring the total damage up to 90%. Now it starts at 80% and gains a 10% bonus damage for each space hero. I consider this a buff. More or less. Personally, if Axel says if the damage is not too important, I would still use Kai's ultimate to kill half of the opponent's team. Yeah, that's very true. So it remains to be seen. Again, they're talking about Bricked. Whether or not Bricked will do enough damage to make you consider not doing a special from your character when it's your character's turn. Especially if that special is, say, a heal. Is the amount of damage being done enough to negate the heal that's happening, or is it just kind of a minor nuisance instead? While you cannot with disarm, his ultimate actually deals 130% damage. Cosmic, I'm not sure what you're referring to. The one-term disarm is killer, basically a worse woo ultimate with a decent amount of damage. Oh, you're talking about if you have a full 5-person space team, I think. His ultimate would deal 130% damage. I think usually when they say for each space hero, they don't actually include the current character. So even though Locust is a space hero, they usually, and this is one of the discrepancies in the way they describe things, 80% damage to all foes plus 10% bonus damage. It's probably for each other space hero, but that remains to be seen. Major Kartovsky. Now this is an interesting one. I'm not even going to read any of what it used to be because no one has Major Kartovsky. So it doesn't matter what his abilities used to be because No one's had an opportunity to play with them anyway. They're completely irrelevant. All that you need to know is what he does now as people start to get him more farmable, as people start to get more master tiles with raids and things coming out. I think Major Kartovsky is going to be much more achievable, and considering that you'll have nothing to compare him against, we're just going to read what he's been changed into. Kartovsky looks really great in Ninjago counter. Axel, yes, 100% correct, and that's what we're going to get to. He was a support space hero with some interesting ideas that unfortunately didn't feel all that impactful when used. For his rework, we decided to flesh out the anti-stealth idea, and they did, in his original ability design, and add some more focus on reducing foes' survivability in battle. So, what does Kartovsky do? He's going to deal, his basic deals 100% damage with a 65% chance to copy a random buff from the target foe to himself. If any foe has stealth, Kartovsky clears the random debuff from the foe, and the chance to copy is 90% instead. Pretty straightforward. Copy a buff from you unless someone on your team is in stealth, in which case I'm going to steal the buff from you. EMP Bomb, this is the big one. Deals 55% damage to all foes with a 70% chance to inflict Heal Block. Another new debuff that is probably pretty obvious, it blocks healing. Heal Block 1 on each foe for 2 turns with a 20% bonus chance if the foe has stealth, with an 80% chance to clear stealth from each foe. Sorry, ninjas. If a foe is critically hit, increase their ability cooldowns by 1. So it's AoE damage with a chance to inflict heal block and a chance to remove stealth. And if the foe gets critically hit, which there's probably going to be at least 1 because you're going to hit like 5 people with it, their ability cooldowns will be increased by 1. This is a major anti-ninja move right here. I mean, that's like, that's basically all that it does. Ninja, Highwayman, Verda, all of these characters that can pop into stealth, forget about it. If you get Kartovsky on your team, they're basically nullified. Scan for weaknesses. One of the major issues with Ninjago, they get stealth and then they get healed while we're unable to attack them. Correct. With Kartovsky, Axel, not anymore. Cosmic, see you later, alligator. Thanks for stopping in. Scan for weakness. Deals 110% damage to the target foe and inflicts vulnerable. Remember, vulnerable is the debuff that makes the next attack against that character a guaranteed crit. If the foe has 50% or less health, or a lot of debuffs, there's a 75% chance to inflict disarmed for 2 turns, plus a 5% bonus chance for each techie hero. So what's important to note about this is he'll deal damage to somebody and inflict vulnerable on them. And if they're already close to dying, he'll disarm them. So the idea here, and it's called scan for weaknesses, the idea here is to find the weakest link on the team and make them stay that way so we can just smash them out of the battle. Cloak Matrix, so this is going to be his passive ability. Whenever Major Kartovsky is critically hit, he has a 60% chance to gain stealth for 1 turn. Okay, cool. Whenever Major Kartovsky attacks, the foe with the lowest health and stealth has a 40% chance to have its duration reduced by 1, plus 5% bonus chance for each other space hero. So not only does he have this EMP, which is going to try and pop you out of stealth, but on his turn, when he does a basic attack, anytime he attacks, he's going to target whoever has the lowest health and try to pop them out of stealth as well. If you run a Ninjago team, you're looking at Kai. Kai has very low stealth, a very low health, but does a lot of damage and has decent survivability because he can stay invisible. If you remove Kai's ability to stay invisible, you can get him out in 1 or 2 hits, even when he's all the way up at 7 stars, depending on who you have on your team. So, Major Kartovsky could seriously reduce the amount of damage that a ninja team does by essentially waiting for Lloyd to put everybody into stealth and then saying, boop, never mind. And then because Lloyd doesn't actually taunt, your ninja team's in trouble. I think running Kartovsky is going to be a part of a meta team depending on whether or not ninjas remain in the meta. He can also help to disable Wu, essentially, because Wu can put people into stealth if they are low health, and Kartovsky can pull them back out again. His passive ability is a direct answer to Wu's passive ability. I'm surprised that they want to keep him in Master Shop only. Given his rework, I would have expected him to be available in some bags. Axel, we're going to have to see what happens with all of that. I'm still under the impression that we are going to see some major changes to what they told us in the Q&A before raids come out. And I think Kartovsky is going to be more easily farmable. They have definitely hinted at that. So we'll see what happens. For Dolphins to spend some money. Yeah, it's a good point, Axel, actually. I think that there are several people out there who would be willing to spend $5-10 at a shot to get Kartovsky, but only if it was like an actual legitimate shot at getting Kartovsky. You know what I mean? Okay, Deborah and Gorwell. A lot of speculation about what was going on with Deborah and Gorwell. They're a pretty solid pair overall. They didn't require many changes to keep them in line with the other space hero reworks. To help them survive a little longer in combat, Hive Mind's Orders has been given a boost with some new functionality. So you'll notice for Deborah and Gorwell, the only thing that changed was Hive Mind's Orders. Now again, practically nobody has Deborah and Gorwell. However, they've hinted that she's going to be easier to get with the raids coming up. So I'm not going to go through what all of her abilities are because that is mostly irrelevant to everybody at this point. But we will go with what the change has been. And you'll notice here, they just made it a completely separate paragraph because it's a major, major change. So bear with me here. Select a target hero. The hero gains 1 stack of infestation and has a 100% chance to gain a bonus stack of infestation if there's space. So select a target hero, they gain infestation. If they are space, they gain 2 infestation. The hero deals their damage to a random foe, plus a 20% bonus damage for each stack of infestation on the hero. So if that's a space character, it's immediately going to be 140% damage, if not more. The infestation stacks cap out at 5, like all the tokens do. So that means that a hero could be doing 200% damage to a random foe. The attack ignores stealth and taunt. That's important to note. Now, it is random, so you don't know who you're going to get, but basically what they're saying is it could be anyone. If the target hero is space and they attack a foe with taunt, it will remove taunt and copy it to your tank hero with the most health. Likely that's going to be Locust. If the target hero is space and they attack a foe with stealth, clear stealth from the foe and copy it to Gorwell, which is great because you want to keep Gorwell alive so she can heal up the rest of your team. Overall, this is a pretty significant buff to what this ability did. It's interesting that they buffed it considering that no one had Gorwell anyway, so we didn't even know if she needed a buff. But who knows? Blacktron Dwayne. Blacktron Dwayne was changed in an interesting way that I'm not sure I fully understand yet, and I don't know that anyone will fully understand it until Quincy comes out. We do not have stats or information about Quincy yet. That is probably going to be released when they do their full patch notes, possibly not actually until he's coming into the game in his own right, which I don't remember exactly when Quincy is supposed to. Is Quincy added with this update, or is Quincy coming with raids? Don't remember entirely. Correct me on that one. Blacktron Dwayne is an attacker hero whose original abilities relied on specific and rare debuffs in order to be effective. With his new rework, he will focus on punishing buffed foes with critical hits, and when paired up with his new buddy Blacktron Quincy, his critical damage can be boosted even higher, making him an even more powerful attacker. Great. His first ability has been changed to deal a little bit less damage, but with a 10% bonus chance to critically hit for each buff on the target foe. So, Instead of dealing 110% damage, he'll deal 90% damage. But he gets a plus 10% bonus chance to critically hit for each buff on the target foe. Overall, I think you are going to see that this is a bonus this is actually going to be a damage buff. Because despite the fact that he'll be doing 20% less damage, he will be critting a lot, especially with the rest of his passives, and especially depending on who you're targeting. I mean, if you're fighting a castle team with Jester Gogo, come on, when Jester Gogo gets 7-8 buffs on him, which happens within one turn, all of a sudden Blacktron Blast has a 100% chance to crit. That's an increase in damage over a flat 110%. Now, if you're fighting a team that doesn't apply buffs, yes, it is going to be a damage decrease. But overall, I think it'll probably be a damage buff, if not basically a wash. Notorious Tech deals 125% damage to the target foe with an 80% chance to inflict defense down for 2 turns. If the target foe had 3 or more buffs, they are inflicted with critical chance down. Now this I would actually consider to be a bit of a nerf, because it used to deal damage and reduce their pep by 30%. That's pretty major. 125% damage with a chance to inflict defense down 1 for 2 turns. Defense down 1 for 2 turns is a little bit weak, especially because none of us actually know how the defense formula works, and Gameloft continues to refuse to tell us. If they have 3 or more buffs, they are also inflicted with critical chance down for 2 turns. Again, it's nice because it means that the opponent is going to be dealing a little less damage, but it's only a little less damage because it hasn't taken their damage down, it's just taken down their chance to do extra damage. So overall, I'd consider this one a nerf. Axel says now. Oh, Quincy. You're talking about Quincy coming out now because we will have a Brick Pace event before raids. Yes, I think that's right. Phaser to Stunned. Whenever Dwayne critically hits, which again, remember, it's going to be a lot, he has an 80% chance to remove 1 buff from a random foe. Whenever Dwayne critically hits, if Blacktron Quincy is an active hero, Dwayne gains critical damage up 2 for 2 turns. At the start of battle, Dwayne gains 3% crit chance for each active space hero. So if there is a meta team that has a full space regiment and Dwayne is on it, that means that he will have a plus 12 or 15% chance to critically hit. When he does critically hit, if you have Blacktron Quincy, which you undoubtedly will if you're running Blacktron Dwayne, he gains critical damage up. Compare that to his first ability, which gains increased critical chance to hit. He'll be critting more often, and he'll have critical damage up when he does. Blacktron Dwayne stands to hit like a truck. Unfortunately, he's pretty slow, and his health is pretty low, so we'll see if he actually becomes effective, but if he does get the chance to hit you, it's probably going to hurt. And then we get into a sort of completely random rework that I'm very excited to play with, but still very worried about at the same time, and that is Paramedic Poppy. Now you guys know I've been trying out that fire station so far. It's been a very lackluster experience, but Paramedic Poppy being changed, and we have Primo coming out, who knows, maybe it'll be effective. Let's see what they did. Paramedic Poppy wasn't as effective a healer hero as we originally intended. No kidding. With this rework, Poppy utilizes courage tokens to improve her healing abilities and to allow her to work nicely with other role model heroes. So, her first ability has been changed to deal 95% damage to the target foe, with a 50% chance to gain 1 stack of courage, and a bonus chance for each other city hero. If you're running Poppy, chances are you are running her in a full city team. Otherwise, there are tons of other healers that you can choose. So, chances are that this is basically deal 95% damage to the target foe with a 70% chance to gain 1 stack of courage. Right? They have removed her max health up, which is fine because no one cared about it anyway. patch up her first special has been changed into select a target hero. The hero gains 3 stacks of heal over time and grit up 2 for 2 turns. If that hero has less than 35% health, they also gain hardy, and if that hero is a role model, they have their ability cooldowns refreshed by 1. So before, it would grant 3 stacks of heal over time for 2 turns to whoever had the lowest health. So the 3 stacks of heal over time is the same. The difference here is you get to choose which character gets the 3 stacks of heal over time and the grit up for 2 turns. It no longer will remove debuffs, but if the person that you target is low on health, it will grant them hardy, which means hopefully they will survive long enough for those stacks of heal over time to take effect. And if they are a role model hero, it will refresh their ability cooldowns by 1. Now this Poppy rework is going to come out at roughly the same time when Primo comes into the game, meaning that you'll now have 3 role model heroes, Poppy, Primo, and Firefighter Ash. Theoretically, you could use patch up on Poppy if you needed to give her hardy and reduce her ability cooldowns by 1. So if you need her to heal, and then you need her to heal a little bit more quickly, you can have her patch up herself. We'll see how effective that is. Overall, so far, that is a major buff for her. But it has nothing to do with courage. It doesn't generate it, and it doesn't use it. Keep that in mind. Painkillers has been changed to heal all heroes for 20% of Poppy's max health, plus 5% bonus heal for each stack of courage on Poppy. Then it removes all of the stacks of courage from Poppy. If 5 stacks of courage were cleared, clear 2 random debuffs from all heroes. Overall, this is weak and very disappointing, actually. You'll notice that her only ability to generate courage right now is going to be about a 70% chance on her basic attack. So first off, you're not going to use her basic attack on every turn. And secondly, it's only a chance to generate a stack of courage when you do use it. So chances are, the chance of her having 5 stacks of courage is essentially 0. So if 5 stacks of courage are cleared, clear 2 random debuffs from all heroes, expect that to never ever happen. So just delete that sentence entirely, because that's about how it's going to work. So they've lowered the base heal of Poppy's heal, but they have then given it a +5 bonus heal for each stack of courage on her. So chances are the heal is going to be about 25% like it was before. And then they've removed the 30% chance to resurrect somebody and replaced it with effectively nothing. So it was unreliable before, but at least there was a chance. Now it's not even there. So honestly, this is a huge letdown, and I would consider it a nerf, to be completely honest with you, especially considering the way that courage tokens are generated, or in her case, not generated. Preventative care. So this has been changed to Poppy's max health is increased by 5% for each stack of courage on her. Whenever Poppy gains a stack of courage, she heals the hero with the lowest health for 10% of her max health. If that hero is City, they also gain defense up 1 for 2 turns. So let's wrap this all together. Whenever Poppy gains a stack of courage, which is going to be incredibly rare, so this will happen once, twice, maybe 3 times in an entire battle, she will heal the hero with the lowest health for 10% of her max health. And remember that her max health is being increased with each stack of courage. So she goes from 100% health to gaining 1 stack of courage. Now she's at 105% health. So whenever she gains a stack of courage, she'll heal the hero with the lowest health for 10% of her max health. Put it all together. If she has 0 stacks of courage, she gains 1. So instead of healing for 10% of 100, she's healing for 10% of 105. For those of you who are not good at math, instead of a 10% heal, that's a 10.5 heal. That's basically no difference. If she had 5 stacks of courage on her, 5 stacks, then her max health would be increased by 25%. So then instead of 10% of 100, it would be 10% of 125, which is 12.5%. So instead of healing somebody for 10% of her max health, she heals somebody for 12.5% instead. And that's only if she manages to get up to 5 stacks of courage. And if that hero is City, they also gain defense up 1 for 2 turns. Did she get stronger and more useful? Maybe. But majorly stronger and more useful? Not even close. You are not going to see Poppy popping up in any metas anytime soon, unless I have this very, very wrong. And considering how much I've been playing with Courage and the Courage generating mechanic, especially with the Fire Station, that gives you a chance to get Courage in the event that maybe you get a resist going on, it's basically nothing. The only way that this could possibly be useful would be if you put Patch Up on Poppy so that she has Grit up 2 for 2 turns on herself. Then you have to hope that they target Poppy, which they're probably not going to do because she's a weak healer anyway. So overall, I would say that I'm really disappointed in this Poppy rework. I hope that I'm wrong, but only time will tell, man. Only time will tell. So that's what we got for you guys today. That is the full Space rework so far as we have it. We know that Blacktron Quincy is coming into the game. We know that Jen Slate is coming into the game. We know that they have plans to make Kartovsky and Gorwell more accessible, possibly the Clockwork Robot coming into the game because they've advertised that there's a new collectible hero out there. The Kelvin rework seems massive. The Commander Cold synergy seems like it has gotten a buff. Locust and Gorwell seem like they are going to work very well together. Reed is still going to be out there hitting you with stuns and clumsies and stuff. So overall, I think we are definitely going to see an increase in the number of space heroes that appear throughout the arena. I think that Kelvin and Commander Cold will have a much greater use and viability in the PvE content in the game, as they can make your team practically unkillable. As far as Poppy's rework is concerned, I will continue to test it and see if hopefully I am wrong and it is actually stronger than it sounds, but only time will tell. So we'll do another one of these when the full patch notes come out. I will be comparing those full patch notes to these space notes. If the reworks to the space characters are unchanged from what I've just read to you, I will spare you going over it a second time and just give you all of the news. But until then, if it's nice where you are, go outside. And if you haven't called your mom since I told you to do it last time, please do it. She misses you and she loves you. Play well, play hard, be nice to each other, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. New York time for more of the morning build.